Nice to have you on the coaching session. This is going to be fun, quick, to the point. My name is Borino. I'm a coach, former real estate agent, recovering realtor. Don't you just hate it when people say realtor? Are you a realtor? I can't even say it right. Realtor. Hate that. Realtor. Damn it. Nice to have you with me. Good to have you. Anybody here for the first time? Do you have any first timers? If you are for the first time with me, glad to have you. We do these live sessions here on Rockstars and broadcast to you and podcast where I teach you, get more leads, guys. There's plenty of business out there. Get more clients, make more money. This is a great opportunity. National Association of Realtors projecting 5.4 or more million transactions this year. Bonanza of deals. Yes, it's a challenging market. I'll give you that. Shortage of inventory. Not a lot of listings. That's why the topic today is so important. That's why I wanted to share that with you today. You sit down with the seller. And the seller says, will you cut your commission? Do you lower your commission? So today I'll give you some solutions. I'll give you some approach. Now, what I will not give you, as you already know me, many of you, right, is some canned scripts, some rebuttals. Even the word rebuttal sounds like but, rebuttal, you know. So we're not going to do that. I will give you some dialogue outlines. I will give you some positioning and some ways you can maneuver. Still get a good listing. Don't piss off the seller. Don't come saying, shitty stuff from 1987. So we're not going to do that. All right? Any questions you have, please post them in the comments. This way or this way or this way. And I'll be happy to address them. So we make it really quick. I also have an invitation for you. We have opened registration. Check this out. The Listing Mastery Bootcamp. This is the first time I'm teaching this in the form of bootcamp, where I will show you what needs to happen before your listing appointment, during your listing appointment, and after your listing appointment, so you not only get that listing, at least 8 out of 10 appointments, but get a well-priced listing. So go check it out. 2 more days before the registration closes. We're going to ship you the system, ship you the presentation, ship you the slides, books, all that good stuff. And then starting next week on Thursday, February whatever, 16th, I think, or 14th or something like that, we're going to get going. That's our first session, and then weekly sessions where we will work on your pre-listing sequence, on your presentation, on your confidence, on your ability, on your competence, on your pricing skills, all of that, and how to present it in a neat, digital, modern package for 2020 to the seller who is discriminating these days, well-educated, difficult at times, who has choices. So I'll help you with all that. Go check it out. It's a great program. Sign up. We'd love to have you in the program. We only have a few spots left. Let's get started. All right, so hello, everybody. Mr. Glenn Twiddle from Down Under. Nice to see you, good sir. Always good to have you. Daniel, Philip, Earl, Freddie, Keith, Andrea is here. Bunch of good people. Lovely to see you. Let's get going. First thing that we're going to address when seller asks you, do you cut your commission? How much do you charge? It's a variation of all that. Is we need to know when. My wife scolded me that my handwriting is impossible to read, so I have improved. Do you notice the difference? Beautiful serif font, sans serif. This looks like Calibri. When are they asking the question? Here's why that's important. If the seller's asking it at the beginning of your interaction, during your prospecting, let's say you get an expired listing on the phone, or you're speaking with a for sale by owner at the beginning, you will address it differently. You will never react, but address it differently than if it's during a listing presentation. So when it's, let's say you're meeting with a for sale by owner, you have a little chat, and the FISBO says, how much do you charge? What is your fee? The first strategy I'm going to give you, this is a tactic called the buffer. Or my students in a core influence call it the off-ramp. You know how when we go skiing, we go through this mountain range. It's a border of Virginia and Maryland. And the road gets quite steep. And you ever notice, like on these steep roads, when you go downhill, there's that off-ramp, and it is for trucks, heavy, big vehicles, when sometimes brakes fail. So what happens when a seller throws an objection, or a potential client, or even a prospect throws an objection, very often inexperienced agents who are not my students, go in a reaction mode. They panic a little, right? It's a little like it throws you off. And then you go reacting. And unfortunately, that reaction is sometimes evident, and sometimes people just feel it, that they threw you off with something like this. So what I'm going to give you is the off-ramp suggestion. Rather than running down that hill, going in a reactive mode where you react, now the prospect reacts to you, then you react to the prospect's reaction, then the prospect reacts to your reaction to the prospect's reaction, and so on, so on. And you can spiral, and then you lose them with a brush or just a shutdown. You simply take that off-ramp where you slow it down. So let me give you all you need for your brain to reset, prepare, not go into reactive mode. You don't react, you respond. So watch. Talking to a FISBO, they have a lovely home, I'm chatting with them, and they say, well, how much do you charge? Here is the buffer. I pause, I smile, I look at the seller, and I say, Jim, I'm glad you asked. Because all my brain needs is to say, register what they said, register the question, compose, don't get thrown off. Instead of reacting, I now can respond. So I don't go immediately into just vomiting some script. I pause, I smile, and I say, Jim, I'm glad you asked. Because during my off-ramp, when I go into the off-ramp, that gives me the ability to evaluate. Are they asking at the beginning? And the answer is yes. Now, if they ask at the beginning, one day I'll spell it right, beginning, I will give a different response than if they asked during the listing presentation. So watch. The FISBO that asked, I will say, I'm glad you asked. Nothing. I charge 0. I smile, I pause, and then I say, until the job is done. Okay? It's a pattern interrupt. Very unexpected answer, right? Woo. It's kind of clever, but it's not one of those silly 2-paragraph answers. Well, every agent, every commission is, and my commission, and I believe that I don't discount commission, and they go on and on and on. Seller is gone. I simply use a little bit of humor, a pattern interrupt, and say, I charge 0, nothing. Pause, smile, until the job is done. Until we're done, you're enjoying your house in Florida. Now, yes, of course, then I need to continue. But this gives me enough time to establish high status. I'm in control. I'm having a good time. And I say, of course, commissions are negotiable. And when we sit down and run all the numbers, not only will we go over that, but we're going to discuss the most important number, way more than just a commission, which is how much cash you're going to put in your pocket when it's done. And that's the end of discussion. In 99% of the times, that's all. Now, here is the trick. You need to deploy a strategy that I will teach in detail, by the way, in the Presentation Plus Bootcamp called QAQ. 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 And this is important. I don't let the answer just hang there, because then I surrender the control of the conversation. Remember the Borino rule. This is important. Please remember this one. He who controls the conversation controls the outcome. The best way to control the conversation is question, answer, question. I answer seller's question, how much do I charge? Nothing. I go into commissions, of course, are flexible and negotiable. Now watch, I'm not saying my commission is negotiable, because if it's not, we'll get to it in just a moment, you're fine. You're just saying commissions in general are usually negotiable. And I'm sure we're going to find a plan that fits your budget. But more important than just the commission, let's focus on your bottom line. What is the cash? How much cash are you going to put in your pocket? Okay? Now, once I answer that, I will say, does that make sense? Question. Seller registers, seller response. When the property sells, when in Florida do you plan to live? I follow with a question. I take control of the conversation. Are you with me? Does it make sense? So now, that's at the beginning. When they ask me during the follow-up phase, when I already have some kind of rapport with them, that is, in many cases, a really good thing called IOI. So imagine you have the same for sale by owner on follow-up for a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks or so. You've been chatting with them, and you're discussing the house in Florida. You're discussing, well, it's not going really well. We had an open house, a couple of people came, but they never returned my calls. Blah. They're complaining how hard it is to sell on their own. Pain is kicking in. You don't take the bait. Oh, you should list with me. You don't want to do that. You simply discuss, offer help, and then the seller says, well, let me ask you, how much do you guys charge? Is a very different question than it was at the beginning, where they try to discount you, where they try to filter you out. exit you based on commission. False perception, thinking cheapest is best. We know it's not. Okay? So when it's during the follow-up, that's good. That's good. It's a good indicator. It means they're considering plan B. And you give them similar response. You can skip now if you used it before. Not very clever using it twice. But you can say, glad you asked that, Jeff. Glad you asked that, John. Commissions, of course, in most cases are negotiable. They're flexible. And I'm sure we're going to come up with some solution. I know you want to put as much money in your pocket as possible. What's the plan B? Have you thought about listing with an agent somebody you can trust? And then, if this is a FSBO, for example, use the FSBO-specific bridge from the FSBO-Borino system. Okay? Now, if they ask during your presentation, which is at the end, we're going to get to the second part of all this. Is this helpful so far? You need to analyze it. This is not just memorizing a couple of lines and just fart them on them. You can't just fart those out. You need to really know. You need to be the pro who knows when are they asking, and if they're asking during the presentation, you may be in trouble. This may be a problem. Possibly. Because if during the process of the first impression and a follow-up, you have not established your credibility, your expertise, your high status, your experience, or whatever else you bring to the table that makes you unique, they may be starting comparing, thinking, well, if all the agents are the same, might as well go with the cheapest one. And that's where the problem is. Let me show you something. This, my friends, is a BMW 7 Series, 700i. Beautiful car, leather upholstery, very refined, gets you from point A to point B. And this particular model, this is a 2019, right now sells for $96,400. Lovely car. Compared to this one. This is a Ghost, Rolls-Royce Ghost. This is again 2019 model, which right now retails for $311,900. Leather seats, upholstery, beautiful car, great engine, very reliable, luxurious vehicle. Now, what is the difference between Rolls-Royce at $311,900, I'm punching in my calculator as we speak, and the BMW, $96,400. Know the difference? You see it? $215,500 difference. Now, they're both excellent cars. They're both luxurious cars. Granted, what is the difference? Rolls-Royce maybe has a finer stitching. The leather is a better quality. The engine maybe has a little more horsepower. But friends, think about it. Ghost is built on a chassis of a BMW 700 series. BMW owns Rolls-Royce. So the extras that you get, like that fine clock that is so famous, you guys know Rolls-Royce clock, right? And other extras are not worth the $215,000. You with me? What is the difference? The difference is in one word. Can you guess what it is? Anybody can guess it? The difference, my friends, is in perception. Rolls-Royce is perceived as super ultra luxurious high-end car. BMW is nice. It's a beautiful car, but it's not Rolls-Royce. The brand, the perception, the aura that comes with it. The famous line that I've heard straight from a Rolls-Royce dealer, a salesperson on the floor said, if you need to ask what the gas mileage on that car is, you can't buy a Rolls-Royce. It's not for you. Yes, he was arrogant. Yes, it was a little bit insulting. But it's the truth. It's a very different caliber of a car that we perceive differently. It is not about, well, how much would the leather cost to upgrade the BMW? How much would you spend extra in parts for that car? It's not about the parts. Are you a Rolls-Royce or are you the BMW? When you start getting a lot of objections around commissions, What that means very often in the seller's mind, you are perceived as everybody else. And the problem is that is not something you can solve with one clever line at the listing appointment. The problem is this process somewhere here got derailed. Somewhere along the line, maybe at the beginning, they started perceiving you as everybody else. Maybe you used some canned lines. Maybe you were too needy, too low status. Maybe they didn't notice the level of competence you bring, the level of confidence you bring to the table, or the level of compassion, the 3 C's. Maybe somewhere during the follow-up, you just kept repeating the same old, same old. Maybe your presentation sucked. Maybe it was too long, too boring. Maybe it was not differentiating enough. Maybe there was not enough engagement. Maybe it was not enough conversation. It was just you kind of blurring out sales stuff and trying to impress the seller. How many Facebook ads you run and how you do open houses every week and how your flyers are so beautiful and all that nonsense that sellers really don't care about. So at the end of the presentation, they realize, shit, well, this guy is just like everybody else. Let's go with the cheapest one. That's why it's much harder to recover it here. Now, this brings us to the final question you need to ask. When? Ask yourself this. Why? Why are they asking? What is behind it? Why are they asking? Is the problem the positioning? That's a big problem that sometimes you can't really recover. Or are they fishing? In other words, can it be that they're in negotiation? That they just want a deal? Or are they just fishing? Or is the problem positioning? Positioning. Okay? One of the three. If the problem is negotiation, that just means they want a good deal. And here's the thing, and this is important, you're not going to like it, but somebody has to tell you the truth. Here's the problem. We, at least here, I am just outside of Washington, D.C. We live in an area called Lake Barcroft. It's part of D.C. We're just on the other side of the river. Lovely community, about 1,400 homes. There are 2 listings in the neighborhood right now. So there's high demand right now and very little supply. Is that the same in your neighborhood? A lot of neighborhoods, a lot of areas, a lot of markets are like that right now, yeah? So, if the seller knows there's a lot of demand, prices are going up, a lot of buyers lined up, many properties sell right after they hit the market, multiple offers. If they think, well, this guy will do it for 6%, and I'm just making numbers up, everybody's different, everybody's commissions are different, but for illustration, you get my point. If this guy can do it for 6%, but this guy can do about the same for 5% in a good hot market, and that guy may do just about the good job. May not be as great as impressive, but good enough, and we'll get it sold, and it'll save us $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Let me ask you a question. Who would you go with? Put yourself in the seller's position. Look at it from a seller's perspective. If the other agent who is willing to take a hit on the commission can still get the property sold and get it done, and there are agents like that out there, it's better for the seller. So what you need to ask yourself is, what do I bring to the table? Now, I am neither for nor against cutting commissions. Here's what I mean by that. At the beginning, when I was green, when I was getting listings, just getting started, I was willing to sacrifice the commission, part of my commission, for the seller's faith in me. Because I was very open and honest with them that I was rookie, I was fairly new, didn't have much experience, but I had a great team behind me. I had a broker very knowledgeable, I had a transaction coordinator who can handle all the paperwork and all the details, and I had a pool of agents that I can go to and ask questions. I had a legal department at my disposal. So I assured the seller that I may not have all the answers, but I can get all the answers. So I can be trusted, and I was competent enough and passionate enough to win those sellers over. But the thing was, they could have gone with a way more experienced agent, and I appreciated the trust. And when they asked about the discount, yes, I was willing to do that. It was a fair trade-off, in my opinion. Once my business grew, once my experience grew, once my list of past clients and experience and a bunch of transactions I got under my belt, I dropped that. But at the beginning, I was willing to. I was flexible. So I encourage you, evaluate. Because here is a second rule to that. Stay flexible. Be flexible. Because sometimes few $1,000s is better than $0,000. Now, I'm not saying you should build your business on that. Here's what I mean. Unless you're absolutely the cheapest one, being cheaper very seldom really works, very seldom really contributes anything. Because if you start competing on the price alone, on the commission alone, there will always be somebody else who can do a better job. There will always be somebody who can do it cheaper. There will always be somebody who will be willing to do it for less. Which brings me to one of my favorite objection handlers. And this is one of the few that I use that worked really well. That's kind of like a script. I mean, I say it in variations, but the message is always the same. I call it the bored Hausfrau. And it goes like this. We're chatting with the seller. They hit me up with the commission. I said, well, you know, John, if commission is the only criteria, if that's the only thing that matters to you, if nothing else matters, how somebody's passionate, how they're competent, how they can get the job done, I'm not your guy, because I'm definitely not the cheapest. If you're going to look just for the cheapest possible out there, for the Walmart of real estate, you're going to find it. I'm sure that if you look long and hard enough, there's got to be some bored Hausfrau who's married to a rich lawyer who is just sick and tired of watching QVC all day and will take the listing for $500 just so that she can get out of the house for a little while and do something. So you can find cheaper. Question is this. This is a huge step. This is one of the most important decisions of your life. To sell something huge and expensive as your house, and to make sure that it's done so you don't get sued, that it's done on time, and you put the most money and most cash in your pocket. To make sure we transition you so you're enjoying that beautiful condo down in Florida. Is it really wise to go with the cheapest? Would you go to the cheapest dentist? I didn't think so. This is the same. This is actually more important than a root canal. Because if it goes sideways, it can be a lot more painful. What do you want to do? Now watch how I did. QAQ. Got a question, answered, follow up with a question confidently. This is the important part, guys. This is important. In order for you to handle commission or any other objection well, yes, you can learn these systems and you can learn some of these dialogue outlines, and I'll give you plenty in the boot camp and I will help you with all that. But what it comes down to is this, knowing your value. You've got to know your value. What do you bring to the table? What can you bring to the table that nobody from your competition can? Where the seller says, well, you know what? Maybe this is not the cheapest solution. He's not the cheapest. But boy, is he the best. Where they like me and trust me and respect me and the bonding connection is so strong that the few extra dollars simply doesn't matter enough for them to go with somebody else. Because friends, if you establish through this process from the beginning, even past the presentation, that they like you, trust you, and respect you more than everybody else, you win well every single time. That's why it's not about the clever. And please, do me a favor. Please, I beg you, never ever use that ridiculous, dumb, stupid, horrible answer when agents get into, well, let me show you how the commission is divided. Friends, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares how the money is divided. If they don't see the value, they don't care. If they see the value, they don't care. You know that answer? Remember, well, let me show you where the money goes. Half of it goes to the listing, half of it goes to the selling side. Now this gets divided into quarters because this quarter goes to the broker, this grows. Nobody cares. If I'm buying a watch, I don't really care how much the band costs and how much does it cost to put the dial in. If I can get the same damn watch for $1,000 less at this store, if it's identical watch, that's the one I'm going to get. I don't give a shit how the commission is divided or how much this store had to pay to get that watch versus that store. So don't answer it like that. Don't get tangled into any of that. Please, I beg you. Hold your status. This is important. Like you, trust you, and respect you. Final piece to this is the right mindset. And that really is not a final piece, that's the starting point. Because all of this works a lot better if you deep inside know, hey, I am great at what I do. I like what I do. I enjoy it. I deliver results for my clients, and some I work with and some I don't, and some I click with and some I don't. But I know that there's plenty. There's plenty of money, plenty of opportunities, plenty of listings, plenty of money, plenty of commissions. So if some don't see the value, it's fine. There's always, I can always get more. Why? Because when you get in these kind of negotiations with the seller where they're not fishing, you can confidently say, well, Every agent charges what they believe they're worth. I believe I deliver more than most of my competition. That's why I have such a long track list of my happy past clients, and that's why they see value in what I do. So if you want somebody who's going to stay with it, if you want somebody who's going to be on your side, working their ass off, and staying with it until you are sipping a Mai Tai on the beach in Florida, happy, and I will not quit and I will not stop until that's done, then I'm your guy. Would you like me to go to work for you? And if they say, no, absolutely not, we're going to go with Susie because she's going to give us a great deal and she's about the same as you. I know I lost and I know, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Good luck with Susie. I'm out of there. Because one thing I know, I'm not going to beg, I'm not going to fight with them. That would make things even worse and push them away a lot faster. Because at that point, they already made up their mind. And I screwed up at the beginning, and what I screwed up here I cannot recover with a clever line at the end. But here's the thing. If you do this just somewhat well, and if you deploy some of the tools that I'm going to give you, you're going to get a copy of my pre-listing package. You're going to get a copy of my Marketing Plus. You're going to get a copy of every single piece that the seller sees from you, emails, videos, texts, all that. Before they meet you, they're so pre-sold. The positioning has already been established. The trust is already in place. The listing presentation, as you'll notice, is just a conversation. That's the easiest part of the entire process. Because it's not driven by force, it's not driven by conviction, convincing somebody. It's simply a conversation. Because we're in this together, seller and you, going towards the same goal. There is no me versus you. There is no antagonistic push-pull. We're working on this together. We're on the same team. This is something we both want. You want to be in Florida. I want to get it done. Yes, I need to pay my bills and feed my family. That's what I do for a living, so I do get paid. But I only get paid when my job is done, only at the end. So I need to do a damn good job for you, not just because I want to get paid, but also because I want referrals. I want to help your friends, help your family if they need me. I want to do a good job, and I want to be proud of my work. And more importantly, I want you to be happy. This is a big deal. Selling a house is a big deal. Moving is a big deal. It can be stressful. It's the number 2 cause of heart attacks in the United States. Did you know that? It can be crazy. And in the wrong hands, it can totally blow up in your face. I don't want that. Now, I can guarantee you it's going to be all smooth because some of the things are out of our control. But I can tell you that I will work my ass off and I will protect your best interest at all times. So let's go. Let's go to Florida. Okay? Is that helpful? Katie, you're right. Yes, it is all about establishing value. Absolutely correct. All right, guys. This is how you need to approach this. This is how this whole thing works. You're establishing high status from the beginning. You're establishing it and nurturing it through the follow-up. And if the commission question does pop up, you know how to handle it. Maybe it's a negotiation. They just want the best deal. Maybe they're just fishing, Will you give us a deal? No. Okay. Now, one thing I will tell you. There are trainers out there who will tell you, how do you handle when somebody says, do you reduce your commission? Would you reduce your commission? All you have to say is, no. I'm here to tell you, just like with that analyze where the money goes, this is one of the worst possible answers you can give. Because the word no immediately and instantly creates visceral reaction. It's an internal reaction. It creates resistance like very other few words can. It's as if you splash them with the cold water in the face. It's a horrible way to react to it because it's a reactive response. So please don't do that. You know better now. Don't do that. You don't need clever lines. You don't need to just spit them in the face with a no. If anything, look at it from their perspective. What they're asking is, it's just like when you went buy a car. Did you negotiate? Did you ask for a better deal? Of course. You may or may not get it, but you asked. Here is the bottom line. You're dealing with human beings. These are not walking commissions. These are not listings. These are not anybody else but people. And they do need your help. And very often they're treated poorly. And very often these salespeople beat them over the head with all kinds of clever lines and sales scripts and manipulation. So they're callous. They're sometimes reacting to that or bracing themselves for it. How was your shopping when you bought your last car? Was it pleasant? Was it a lot of fun? Was it easy? In most cases, it was pretty shitty, right? Mine was, it was okay. But I don't want to go through this over and over. It's not a very pleasant one. So if you look at it from their perspective, human being in a reactive state. To a lot of these folks, the commission is a big chunk of cash. So they're looking to protect their best interest. Now, you and I know cutting a commission is not the good answer. It's not a good solution because in the long run, it can cost them. But if you approach not just the commission negotiation, but in general, your interaction with these folks with heart, with the 3 C's I teach you about: compassion, competence, and confidence, the 3 best qualities you can have, where you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, and you have heart. Not to stomp on. There are people out there who are assholes. Absolutely. There are people out there who will take advantage of you. Don't work with those. Because remember, the mindset is there's plenty. And what you set your mindset on, there are plenty of nice clients, plenty of people who appreciate my help, plenty of people who want my service. You're going to find them, I promise you. And I want to help you. Come do the bootcamp with me. We're starting next week. We're going to have 5 sessions, 5 live sessions. You're going to get all the materials from me. I don't make many promises, but this is a promise I will make you. I will make you better. Better agent, better listing agent, better communicator. And it's not just a few listings, extra listings you're going to get or the money. It is feeling good about what you do. Being the rock star you always wanted to be. Having the freedom. Anna, one of my students, Anna Maldonado Williams. I'm really proud of you. I don't know if Anna's here today. She came aboard recently. I've been working with her for a few weeks, maybe a couple of months. Last month, 4 appointments. 2 got listed, 1 she turned down. The 4th one, I don't know what happened. I'd like to know. But the word she always repeats is freedom. Now she has the freedom to run the business on her terms, not working with difficult people. 1 listing she turned down because the seller was unreasonable in their expectations as far as the price. Because once you master all this, you will be able to say yes to these folks and no to those. And you don't have to beg, you don't have to scrape, you don't have to fight, you don't have to compete with anybody. You're going to find power in that freedom because you're going to have a system, you're going to have the skill, you're going to have the mindset, and you will always know what to do. So come join us. Here's the URL again, listingpresentationplus.com. There are 2 buttons on the bottom. 1, you can pay it in full, save $100. 2, we can break it up into payments for you. Do sign up now so we have enough time to get you the materials, get you set up with your username and password. The training is starting next Thursday. And then every Friday thereafter, we're going to have a live session. These are recorded. If you happen to miss one or you want to see a replay, it's all there for you. You're going to have, as a special bonus, access to my listing university. You're going to have access to a whole bunch of video trainings. You're going to have, of course, access to me if you need to ask questions. There'll be assignments. There'll be homework. All of that is part of the package. I am super excited. Come and join us. Go to listingpresentationplus.com. Check it out. We'd love to have you. All right, friends. And with that, hey, thank you for the nice comments. Appreciate it. With that, my dear friends, your coach Borino signing off. Come join us for the Listing Mastery Bootcamp. Here it is, listingpresentationplus.com. We'd love to have you. We'd love to teach you. We're going to have a good time together. You're going to love the program. All right. Thank you for being here today, and I'll see you all in the Listing Mastery Bootcamp. Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Coach Borino signing off. Let's go get him. Ciao. Bye, everybody.